Flying under the radar is the phrase most coaches covet heading into the brief off-season prior to spring practice, a chance to put their noses to the grindstone and open the eyes of outsiders who have provided relatively low expectations ahead of the new campaign. For some of the more familiar teams, that means the previous fall didn't go as planned, but that's not always the case. Roster flipping and coaching staff turnover can inject momentum and a sense optimism for programs who aren't picked to be in the national title conversation, which is where these particular teams come in. What constitutes a sleeper for the 2019 season? For this exercise, we've chosen a group we expect to be outside the preseason top 20 in August, not considered one of the elites, at least not perceived that way heading into openers. For reference, we've also included where we expect each of these teams to be ranked in the AP preseason top 25. Here's a look at 10 teams garnering the underrated label before the start of next season. 2018 record, 85247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Bulldogs are a sleeper. Most, if not all, of the Mississippi State stock under Joe Moorhead was sold at the end of the 2018 season, which culminated with a disappointing Outback Bowl loss to Iowa that marked the last time on the field for several impact, multi-year starters including quarterback Nick Fitzgerald, first-round pass rushers Montez Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons, and playmaking defensive back AC's Jonathan Abram and Jamal Peters. But perhaps relatively low expectations nationally will benefit the Bulldogs in the new year. Many analysts, myself included, penned Mississippi State as a 10-win team during Moorhead's first season in 2018, but it didn't happen despite the nation's top-ranked defense. While some of the parts will change, the scheme won't, in year two under a new regime often equals continuity and greater opportunity for success. At a program like Mississippi State, it's extremely tough to expect the Bulldogs to be able to absorb near double-digit graduation and NFL draft losses to improve the following season, but the offense will be in good hands with quarterback Keaton Thompson and ball carrier Kylan Hill. 2018 record, 57247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Wildcats are a sleeper. Kevin Sumlin's team barely got off the mat during his first season, stumbling out the gate with 3 losses in September which nullified any momentum it had coming in with buzzworthy dual-threat quarterback Khalil Tate. From preseason Heisman candidate to forgotten star rather quickly, Tate's marriage with Sumlin was difficult from the outset and he didn't have the best relationship with his new OC Noel Mazzoni either, something that showed on game days. He considered transferring, but decided against, and the trio has agreed to work through differences to put Tate in the best position to succeed in 2019 within an offense that'll be altered to fit his skill set. 6 different programs, including Arizona, have won the Pac-12 South since 2011, so it's a division that's usually wide open without a clear-cut fave. 2018 record, 84247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Mountaineers are a sleeper. Lose head coach Dana Holgorsen and Will Grier, and national expectations tumble down the mountain within a top-heavy Big 12 that looks like it'll be dominated by Oklahoma and Texas for the foreseeable future. Matt Campbell doesn't appreciate this notion. But don't expect the Mountaineers to be saddled with mediocrity after landing Troy's Neil Brown, an excellent game-day coach who, for the first time in his career, won't be limited by lack of resources. At Troy, Brown won at LSU and Nebraska in consecutive seasons and won 34 of his final 42 games as coach. His addition in the Big 12 bolsters a league with quality leaders at just about every program, a shot in the arm for a conference that has reached the college football playoff 3 times in the past 4 seasons. 2018 record, 29247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Tar Heels are a sleeper. By all accounts, the ACC Coastal will be wide open this fall and North Carolina's expectations nationally, at least in year 1 under Mack Brown, will be next to 0 following a 9-loss season. This team may not get to a bowl game since they'll play Clemson, Miami, Virginia Tech, South Carolina and Appalachian State among others during the regular season, but noticeable improvement will be made, so much so that few will be questioning Mack Brown's return to Chapel Hill as they have since it was announced. There's been an injection of excitement within the program since his arrival, and the Phil Longo OC hire means the Tar Heels will test opposing defenses a bit in the air raid. The program's signal caller of the future, in-state four-star Sam Howell, made it official during the early signing period, and Heel joined a packed quarterback room this spring that welcomes back Chaz Surratt, who missed most of the 2018 season with an injury. 2018 record, 7-6-2-4-7 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Hurricanes are a sleeper, with talent at other skill positions and a better-than-average unit expected on the defensive side of the ball. The biggest missing piece right now for first-year Miami coach Manny Diaz in Coral Gables is finding a solid starter at quarterback. That's what the Hurricanes were noticeably missing under Mark Richt. Nkosi Perry and Jaron Williams are the two on-campus scholarship players at the position best suited to compete during the spring for the starting job, but Miami is reportedly in the graduate transfer market as well. Diaz fired 4 offensive staffers upon his arrival following an 18-day stint at Temple and has promised a splash offensive coordinator announcement in the coming days, arguably the most crucial addition to his new staff if the Hurricanes are going to be a factor next season. After the opener against Florida, the 2019 schedule is manageable for the Hurricanes, who don't play Clemson during the regular season. 2018 record, 8-5-2-4-7 Sports 2019 preseason projection, no. 22 Why the Tigers are a sleeper. Auburn has 7 months to figure it out what it wants to do offensively prior to matching up with likely preseason top 10 Oregon at it. Gus Malzahn, with his back against the wall facing pressure from the university's power brass to win, humiliated Purdue during the Tigers Bowl win last month and will call plays again after announcing Memphis Rising star Kenny Dillingham as his new OC. Getting back to the tempo-based ground attack is vital to Auburn's success against one of the nation's toughest schedules, while also finding a reliable option at quarterback, who can move the chains with his feet. Malik Willis, Joey Gatewood and true freshman Bo Nix are the 3 expected to compete for QB1 honors. Malzahn has called the QB spot an open competition heading into spring. The Tigers also welcome back rising seniors Marlon Davidson and Derek Brown up front, 2 anchors on a talent-rich defensive line. Coaches weren't confident either would return with NFL aspirations following a disappointing season by program standards, but both have announced their intentions to tackle unfinished business in the SEC West next fall. 2018 record, 5-7-2-4-7 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Vols are a sleeper. Tennessee hasn't won an SEC East title in more than a decade, and when's the last time the Vols were picked to be a serious contender in a league dominated by Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Florida, and Georgia during that stretch? Jeremy Pruitt inherited a roster barren of explosiveness and premium talent, but that's changing in Knoxville. He signed a top 25 class during the 2018 cycle and followed that up with a haul that may fall inside the top 15 next month on National Signing Day, according to the 247 Sports Composite. The Nick Saban disciple and defensive guru showed flashes of turnaround in his first campaign with notable wins over nationally ranked Auburn and Kentucky, but season-long offensive struggles kept the Vols out of the bowl picture. This week's hire of Georgia OC Jim Chaney was a power move and should rectify those issues in 2019. 2018 record, 4-8-2-4-7 Sports 2019 preseason projection, outside the top 25. Why the Huskers are a sleeper. Don't think Scott Frost has lost any of his mojo following a 4-8 stumble in Lincoln during his first season. Opposing coaches are very much nervous that the Huskers are already figuring it out under Frost's direction, evidenced by Nebraska's 4-2 record over its final 6 games that nearly included wins over Ohio State and Iowa on the road. More seasoned in his system in 2019, Nebraska is planning for more than just a bowl invite. And remember the name Wan'Dale Robinson entering the fall, one of 5 4-stars the Huskers have signed in the 2019 cycle, according to the 247 Sports Composite. A 5'9" speedster rated as the No. #2 overall prospect out of Kentucky, Robinson has the playmaking look to him reminiscent of the speed guys that Frost developed at UCF, who are still running past AAC defenses. He'll be an instant impact guy on an offense with a bright future led by quarterback Adrian Martinez. 2018 record, 85247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, no. 19 Why the Tigers are a sleeper, we're projecting here, but the highest Mizzou will be picked to finish in the East at SEC Media Days in July is behind Georgia and Florida, 2019's two obvious frontrunners in the division. Adding Clemson graduate transfer signal caller Kelly Bryant to the mix was a key piece to the puzzle for a Derek Dooley-coached defense losing projected first-round pick and multi-year starter Drew Lock. How quickly Bryant gels with two returning potential stars in the backfield, Larry Roundtree II and Demaria Crockett, and more importantly, a new set of wideouts will determine just how far the Tigers could go. By SEC standards, Mizzou's 2019 schedule is extremely favorable, with the Tigers likely not facing a single nationally ranked team until in travels to Georgia on November 9. 2018 record, 7.6247 Sports 2019 preseason projection, no. 23 Why the Horned Frogs are a sleeper, much of the thought process here hinges on TCU's situation at quarterback entering the fall, a mixed bag at this point unless the Horned Frogs add a graduate transfer with immediate Heisman potential. Guess who that could be? There's a couple programs in this list who would love to have Jalen Hurts, but TCU might be the best fit for the Houston native based on what's coming back around him and scheme fit offensively. As pointed out by Jeremy Clark, publisher for Horned Frog Blitz, Hurts would step into an ideal situation in Ft. Worth. TCU returns 5 starters along the offensive line, running backs Darius Anderson and Siwa Olonalua, and welcome back Jalen Reagor, one of the nation's most electrifying weapons. Reagor became the youngest player in TCU history to join the 1,000-yard receiving club last fall despite season-long issues at quarterback. When you underestimate TCU, Gary Patterson seems to be at his best and he's still widely considered one of college football's top coaches.